Hello, fellow teachers. This is our last and fourth video on the Schoology learning management system and how to um, do some really neat things for teachers on this management system. This last video will be on using assignments and accessing grades from these assignments. Our last video, we discussed creating quizzes and tests. How do you access these quizzes and tests, and how does Schoology organize them in a way that's beneficial for teachers? So one of the quizzes that I assigned last week is this modified DBQ rubric quiz right here. And so students had access this until Tuesday, April 7th, and had to fill out a 5-question quiz. It's just a check for understanding. And so I click on this, and sure enough, here I have the submissions to the quiz, who attempted it, and what score they got. You can notice that on the left-hand side, it has the students' names all the way down the list. Then we see if they submitted the quiz and how many times they attempted the quiz. This quiz, I only allowed them to take it one time. So you can see, of course, everybody has one attempt at the quiz. But had there been multiple opportunities for them to take the quiz, you could actually view each of the attempts and see if they did better on each one or how much better they did on each one. You'll notice it also has the exact minute when they submitted the quizzes and tests, which is very useful in knowing if they got to work early on in an assignment or if they waited until the last minute. And then when you can see these scores are out of 5 and a 5 out of 5 and a 5 out of 5 and a 4 out of 5, and then these compile right into the grade book for my classes. And I actually then can take that grade book and enter it into Aries, which is the platform that we submit our grades in my district. But what about an assignment that isn't multiple choice, that can't just be graded by Schoology? There are, of course, written assignments that we need to assign. One such example would be this Unit 1 DBQ outline right here. So if I click on this assignment, this is something that my students had to submit in Partners. And you can see here that on the right, it has our submissions. And based off of the time that I said in which things had to be submitted, it will tell me if things were submitted on time or not. It says on time, on time, on time. If you come down to the bottom here, we have a student that submitted something late, and it will give me information on that. So if I click on these submissions, what it's going to do is it will give me an opportunity to view submissions. Now, depending on how they have, what sort of document they have used to upload will depend on exactly how well Schoology can access it. If for some reason that Schoology can't bring it up in this viewing bar right here, let's say they used a interesting type of file to be able to submit it, something that Schoology hasn't seen before, you always have the option to download it over here, which is really nice. I've encountered some situations before where my Schoology wasn't able to access it, and this could have been intentional by my students. You have the option to just simply download it here and look at it that way. So written assignments here, they show up right on Schoology. I can look at it and analyze it and grade it right from here. The really cool thing as well is that I also have the opportunities to add comments, that I can actually come in and add comments here. I can also, if I'd like to, create a file and then post that file as far as my responses to their assignment, and then post it right here so that they can see it. So Schoology, just another way in which Schoology is very, very helpful in doing these sort of things. I want to finish with just a really kind of last cool function that you can do. And I do it a lot with tests, but it doesn't have to be tests. It can be really anything. And I'll use this example. So in my US History AP class, I often give them a practice test that I created right before they take the AP test. That practice test is right here on my screen. It's unpublished, which means the students can't see it. They can't see it all year long, but I keep it here unpublished because I wanted to not have to create this test again. I wanted to have it on Schoology and ready to go so that when my students are ready the following year to take the AP test, that it's there. And so one thing that I can actually do is publish or unpublish so that I can open this up for students to be able to take things and be able to see them, and so that I can keep them in an organized fashion on my Schoology page without having to delete things and then go find them again in my Google Drive or my email or my desktop or what have you. And so things always are available that way. I can actually do this for folders as well.